Hiya, this is Dean, just going to be showing you how to look at alarms, look at actual sensor readings quite quickly, and also look at logs and see how we can manipulate them just live on the outstation. I'm going to do it on the DDC4000 controller first, and then I'll plug in and do it on a DDC420, so it just keeps the same context for both controllers in the same video. Okay, so I'm going to be using the service tool. I've got a live connection to this controller at the moment. I've already made a data save. You might have seen that in a previous video. This is the data save history here. So I'm all backed up, and I can pretty much make any changes I like. Not that I plan to. I can make use of the DDC browser, which is inside of the service tool. I can get the live connection up by clicking on the little web browser button there and go live. I can change the browser style as well from the QVGA to the WVGA browser just by clicking on the button there, which is quite handy. So it doesn't matter which one we use. You can see on this particular project there's an alarm that's active at the moment, and we get the flashing triangle. We will see that on the controller interface as well. If I just change the browser, it's a DDC4002, and this is how it presents on the older style interface. I can just click on the buttons that says there's a problem with the boiler on this particular project. And you can see it's active at the moment. It says malfunction. There's a couple of other alarms in the history there. Looks like this is a repeating fault where it's gone normal to fault. This is not a live site, this is just on my bench. And you can see that where alarms are normal, we can clear them, out, and we can delete them. So if I click on global deletion, now the current count of alarm messages is 11. If I click on deletion, and I can delete this from the local unit or all units. Because they're backnet messages, we could configure the alarm to be presented on all the outstations, or just the local one. Could also be a front end if it was a backnet front end. Just click on to delete all, and we have to log in at user level 3 for this. 2460. And now you can see that all the messages that have been active and cleared can now be deleted from the outstation. What I'm left with is messages that have not been cleared. So that one there, for example, it's been acknowledged, but the malfunction message is still active. That means it stays in the memory. I can only delete alarms that are cleared. Quite interesting to understand the difference between acknowledged and cleared. Acknowledged means that I'm just acknowledged the message, but the alarm is still active. Okay, so I could go and change this system to clear the alarm, but equally we can see that in the software we see it's boiler number 1. It's got the fault message on it at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll use the service tool just as a simulation to go in to the input for boiler number 1 fault. Here we go, and as you can see, so that's boiler number 2. Boiler number 1 fault is on at the minute, and it's been inverted. So if I remove the inversion, see the alarm now will clear. I've got some other faults in the system, but I'm just going to go down to the boiler number 1. See, it's now normal. I can now confirm it, and I can also, gives me the option to delete that message. Now I'm down to 4. Okay, so you can delete it once it's been cleared. Okay, now then, let me just show some information about looking at the sensors. So we can use the outstation web browser in service mode, and now I can look at temperature sensors. I can expand them using the menu and see all the live values. Again, this is just a simulation at the minute. There's no actual values in there. Or there's a quite a nice way of just clicking on analog and just click on info, and the outstation will group all the variables from inputs to outputs in a nice, sensible, easy to find list. So if I wanted to look at analog inputs and let's say that the outside air temperature sensor was reading a little bit high and I wanted to put an offset on it, all I have to do is click on this little adjustment button here and then click on it again, and then I can put an offset on the sensor. Let's say, you know, when it is working, it's reading 1.5 degrees too high. If I then click on minus, that will then subtract 1.5 from that sensor when it's reading. And I just work down the sensors until you're happy with all the values you've got. With regards to temperature logs, any variable can be enabled as a log. This would be more for the engineer's level at this stage, but if we go to the customer level, in the software we will indicate parameters that can be logged. As you can see, it's boiler flow temperature, boiler return temperature, for example. You can click on the log. The red areas mean this is when the outstation's literally been offline, so it's only been recently powered up. But you will get a trend curve building, and you've got the arrows here to navigate to change the view of the sensor so that you can zoom in on a particular area. And you can just navigate around the menus to find the values that you're interested in to view as a trend curve. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to disconnect from this outstation, and I'm going to do almost the same thing, but use the DDC420. Okay, so I've disconnected from that outstation. Obviously that project was set up to be connected to a DDC4002. I've now got a DDC420, and the DDC420 is not compatible with the service tool browser. I can connect to it using the service tool for making a backup, just as you've seen other sites, but just for simplicity now, I am going to, bear with me, go onto a web browser, and I'm going to connect to the DDC420, user level 32460. Bear with me. Okay. And on this, just get rid of that. On this DDC420, what I can do is I can click on the pins object and I can see all my sensors that are reading. This is a quite easy way to navigate around the pins and see what the current conditions of them are. Different digit inputs or outputs, for example. Messages are my alarm messages. I don't have any alarm messages at the moment, but I can simulate some of those as well. But it's exactly the same as on the DDC4000, where you can acknowledge and then you can delete messages once they're cleared. In terms of temperature logs, we need to go into the user levels 0, 1 or 2. So if I log in again at user level 2, I can access some areas where the sensors are being logged, and I can access the trend curve, and I can navigate around the curve just as I did on the DDC4000. You can also use the interface for this by pushing the wheel, turning the wheel to set the range that you're interested in. Okay, I think that's it.